Okay, so here's where we left off on the actual examples. Find the absolute max and absolute min values of f on the given interval. So let me switch to a blank piece of paper. So the first one, okay, so let's have the steps that I said I didn't want to talk through until we were going through an example handy. So this is page 3, about the bottom 2/3. To find an absolute max or min of a continuous function on a closed interval, first find the values of f at critical numbers of f in the interval. So critical numbers are defined directly above. We need to find places where the derivative is 0 or the derivative does not exist. So that's what this means. You can fill that in, maybe pause the video. So critical numbers, f prime, so I need to find the derivative. Whoop, yep. And I want to know where that's 0 and where it's undefined. Well, it's not ever undefined. It is defined everywhere. So to find where it's 0, I'm going to do some algebra. Okay, go back to step 2. Find f of a and f of b. What does this mean? That means plug those numbers in the endpoints of the interval, right? So we're talking about an interval. We're going to plug the endpoints. I'm sorry, we're still on step 1. Find the values of f at critical numbers. So all we did was find the critical numbers so far. I want to find the values of f at those critical numbers. So I want to find f of -1 and f of 1. Notice it says find the values of f, not f prime. Okay, we know f prime is equal to 0 at those numbers. We don't know what f prime, what f is. So f of -1, I'm just plugging it in the top, becomes this. Let me just check my work. That's going to be a plus, and that's a plus. So that's just 3. And f of 1, plugging in a 1 into the f function, that's -1. Now I'm done with step 1. I can go to step 2. Find f of a and f of b. So that means plug the endpoints into the function. So in this problem, my endpoints are 0, f of a, and 3, f of b. So I'm going to plug those in as well. F of 0, that's easy, that's just 1. F of 3, that's what, 27 minus 9, that's 18, plus 1, so that's 19. Okay, so plugging in the critical numbers and the endpoints, that's step 1 and step 2. Step 3 just says the largest of the values is the absolute max and the smallest is the absolute min. Let me read the wording on this again. It says find the absolute max and min values of f on the given interval. So I technically don't have to list the x value. The absolute max is, sorry, that looks like one word. The absolute max is 19 and the absolute min is -1. The largest of those values and the smallest of those values. Now I like to add that it happens at x equals 3 and it happens at x equals 1. The question didn't require it, but I like to add that. Okay, so easy peasy lemon squeezy. I hate it when I say that. Do you guys hate it when I say that? Okay, next one. Step 1 is to find the critical numbers. Derivative of sine is cosine. Derivative of cosine is negative sine. I want to know where this is undefined and when it's 0. Think about the sine and the cosine graphs. They go on forever and ever and ever. They're defined everywhere, so it's never going to be undefined. It is going to be 0, though, when cosine equals sine. And I'm only talking about the interval from 0 to 60 or 0 to pi over 3. So take a second and think about where does cosine equal sine between 0 and 60 or 0 and pi over 3. Okay, so hopefully you said it happens at 45 or pi over 4. Okay, so finding where this is equal to 0 is the same as finding where that is equal to that. Okay, step 1 still says find the function value, so plug that in for f at that critical number. So sine of pi over 4 plus cosine of pi over 4 is equal to Those are both rad 2 over 2. Just make sure you can see that, okay? And then half of something plus another half, right? This is half and a half makes a whole of that thing. Or 2 rad 2 over 2 becomes rad 2. Either way you want to think of it. Step 2 says plug in the endpoints. Sine of 0 is 0, cosine of 0 is 1. Okay, and step 3 is plug in the, I'm sorry, this is still step 2, plug in the endpoints. So sine of 60, okay, I think better in degrees, and cosine of 60. So f of pi over 3 is rad 3 plus 1 over 2. So I'm going to need a calculator for this because step 3 says the largest of those values. So this is approximately 1.366. Remember, we're rounding to decimals, and I know what the square root of 2 is. It's 1.414. So the absolute max, so I want you to take a minute and figure out what the absolute max is. Okay, and I would write it as rad 2, not the decimal approximation. Okay, now take a minute and figure out what the absolute min is. Okay, good. So the absolute max is rad 2, and again, just to cover all the bases, let's say where it happens, even though it's not required in the problem. And then the absolute min is at x equals 0. The smallest of the 3 values and the largest of the 3 values. Good? Easy. All right. Sweet.